The Portuguese Inquisition, the history of the Portuguese Empire's religious persecution of non-Christians in Portugal and Asia. Written by Charles River editors. Narrated by Bill Hare. Introduction. The Portuguese Inquisition. Goa is sadly famous for its Inquisition, equally contrary to humanity and commerce. The Portuguese monks made us believe that the people worshipped the devil, and it is they who have served him. Voltaire. By the mid-15th century, the Byzantine Empire had collapsed, and the various Crusades that had taken place in the region had largely disrupted the overland routes of the Silk Road and trade. Compounding the difficulties of trade was the rise of the Ottoman Empire in place of the Byzantines, and the outbreak of the Black Death in Europe. It was roughly around this time that a period of European exploration began, and major factors that contributed to this period of exploration were introduced by the Chinese, albeit indirectly. The magnetic compass had already been developed and used by the Chinese sailors since the 12th century, although it had first been created in the 3rd century BCE as a divination device. The Song dynasty then began using the device for land navigation in the 11th century, and sailors began using it shortly thereafter. The technology slowly spread west via Arab traders, although a case can be made for the independent European creation of the compass. Regardless, by the 13th century the compass had found its way to Western traders, coming at a time that trade had been increasing across Europe. Trade was able to increase in Europe and around the world due to more effective ships being introduced, and some of the improvements that were made to the ships were first introduced by the Chinese. The introduction of multiple mast sailing ships and the stern-post rudder allowed the ships to travel quicker and be more maneuverable. By the start of the 15th century, ships were now much larger and able to support long-distance travel with a minimum number of crew aboard. With that, the Portuguese started exploring the west coast of Africa and the Atlantic under orders from Prince Henry the Navigator. At this point, Europeans had not yet been capable of navigating completely around Africa, since the ships being built were not yet fully capable of sailing very far from the coast, and navigation in open waters was difficult. But the Portuguese continued pushing down the western African coast, looking for ways to bypass the Ottomans and Muslims of Africa, who had been making overland trade routes difficult. In 1431, Prince Henry the Navigator.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?